Okay, so this is going to be VOD review for one of the other top 8 Prism games. This is going to be Andrew Cook in his game against Aurora, Paul Van Geisel. I apologize for the pronunciation. This was Andrew was first seed going into this game, so he got side selection. We disagreed going into this event on whether you should choose first or second against Aurora. And the standard was go second against Aurora until they got face Purgatory back. When they were on balance and pre-armory deck, it was for sure, or it was definitely go second, I think. But I changed it back after the armory deck came out, because Purgatory is just such a pain. And honestly, I don't think either feels that good at this point. Which I guess this matchup doesn't matter a ton anymore at this point. But same with the Enigma matchup. It's still has relevant principles and ideas to work through. So putting Aurora going first, you can end up with stuff like this, where they get Channel Lightning Valley, but luckily there's no Lightning card for Aurora to keep it around. It's just going to be an embodiment, which we're pretty okay with. This is a pretty average amount of setup, and we're pretty happy with it. It's an arsenal, so it's going to be a 5-card hand, but probably just a 4-card hand with Purgatory getting used. Now, this, I think, was a mistake from Andrew, and I think he probably... We didn't talk about this moment specifically. We talked a little bit about the game. I think given what Paul's hand looked like, and the way, because he played CLV, pitches double Static Shock, I might honestly hard cast a Figment here. I'm very close to hard casting a Figment and pitching, it'd probably be hard cast Rebirth, or at the very least filter one through Rapture. But there's definitely a chance that I go hardcast Rebirth, floating one by pitching Ravages and Wartune, because this hand does not work really going second, because the odds that we just have to discard a Figment are pretty high, which I don't want to do. It's fine if we lose Rebirth, we just discard, or we pitch Ravage. Always pitch Ravages first. We want to keep that one in the deck. But Paul is down 3 cards. The most he can send at us is a 4. I'm pretty sure. So we can just cover Footsteps and 3 block if he decides to send it, try to punish the with the Channel Lightning Valley, and then like if he got to do that and then swing a sword and keep Channel Lightning Valley, that would be like bad, but we can avoid that completely. He can't Flicker Wisp for 2 Arcane. If he tried to go like Grasp Sword, I don't think he would. All the blues are lightning cards, and that would have been pitched before 2 reds. And it just would have been pitched in general. So I'm in a pretty... I want to filter these cards. I think it's pretty safe to filter these cards. And this is something that you can look for in other aggro matchups, is getting this filtering on turn 1. Because this hand is... If I have to pick, I'm probably going send Wartune, pitching a Figment, and then discarding Figment of Rebirth, and then Arsenal Herald of Judgment, just so that I try and guarantee a double Herald hand. But I think this was definitely an opportunity for some filtering, either just by hard casting a Figment, which apparently was going to become a thing in this top 8, or by just pitching to Rapture and just cycling a Figment, and we can figure out from there what happens. We're going to send the Herald of Judgment. It's fine. It's going to get Purgatory. Whatever you do, the first one's going to get Purgatory. And maybe from Andrew, half the thought here is that the Wartune cost curve is going to be better on a 4-card hand, or on a 5-card hand. He's more likely to be able to play that out and maintain a 5-card hand. But that's a blue Wartune. It's not going to be connecting next turn. It's just going to get 3 blocked in a 2-piece of equipment. So I don't know that I'd almost rather send the Wartune and keep the 6-power Herald, which is like slightly more likely to get through, or is like 1 more point of value, because if he Purgatories, the odds that he Purgatories a War Tune for 5 are slightly lower than 1 for 6. You're always going to Purgatory the 6. But like if it's 5, they might get weird and just be like, well, I'll just 3 block and give a 2 piece of equipment and keep Purgatory. And you can end up with weird stuff happening. They probably then just give another 3 block plus. So like if you send 5 instead, and they just go 2 plus 3, and then you send 6, and they just go 2, 1 plus 3, you're not necessarily out of the hole because Purgatory is still available for next turn, and you're doing it on a 4-card hand. Not the greatest sequencing. It doesn't get you around Purgatory, it just burns armor. So like it probably doesn't end up moving anything, but you're also, if he doesn't burn Purgatory, you're in the same spot. If he does use Purgatory here, you're actually slightly better off because you have a 6 Herald in the back. And it's not necessarily like easy to make that call, because like half the time you also just want to get around Purgatory, or just like not get around Purgatory, just get through it as fast as possible, just so you can start really like pressuring their life total. But there's so many little things when you're playing against this much armor where it's like the sequencing of your heralds is insanely important. And I think we're going to see this a lot in the upcoming meta into like warrior matchups who have Dynamos plus Grains plus Braveforge Bracers or Iron Song plus Crown of Providence, or Balance even if they decide to keep that because Brute comes back. Yep, and we're going to have to just discard a Figment here, which is fine. It's Rebirth. We're not super upset about that, and we're just going to pass. There is another upside, potentially, to sending the War Tune first, which is you can threaten War Tune into War Tune, which probably means he won't. I don't know if that would stop him from using Purgatory, but threatening War Tune into War Tune with just the card discard is not irrelevant. I don't know if it moves the needle much, though. But this means, no, I don't know. That face Purgatory is stock standard, and I think 100% correct. It is the most tempo. You have an insane amount of armor up. I don't think he was worried about Wrath either because he had Sigil of Suffering in his arsenal. But yeah, and then this hand was just like kind of awkward from Paul. Just current funnel. Andrew's just gonna say no blocks. We have to put our foot on the gas. We have to go. We have to get through this armor as fast as possible because we do not match you chainlink for chainlink this early. We only do that once we are online. We don't have a. We do have a lightning. It's just current funnel for damage here. We're only going to take 8 damage, and then Paul has to decide what he wants for these last 2 resources. So, Rune Chant versus Embodiment. I think I prefer the Embodiment in general. Knowing that his arsenal is Sigil of Suffering, I'm pretty okay with the Rune Chant, simply because it's going to make things awkward. That being said, you're not likely to be facing an Angel for this Rune Chant to try and punish. So, it's a little... I think I lean Embodiment, but I think both are fine. But it's close. Both have pros and cons. Okay, so we have War Tune in our arsenal, and we have red War Tune, blue Wrath, and 2 yellow Ravages. And we're still up against the full suite of armor, so we are, no matter what, just going to kind of get armor claimed here. I think this is, and maybe this is the benefit of hindsight, where it's just like, I want to pressure it, but like, to me, there's no significant difference between which War Tune you send first. We know that Paul is on 3 down and dirty as well, and I prefer to lead with the Herald that I have in Arsenal just because it plays into Halo lines better. It gives me more flexibility with Halo lines. There's not a substantial difference between these 2 Heralds, between which, if you send the blue for 5 first, or if you send the 7 first, There's no difference if there's no popper, because it just says give me a different 2 block of equipment. Now, I guess the flip side of that is if Paul just gives the full 5 on your blue War Tune, then you're kind of in a bad spot potentially, but he can also do that on the 7. You just maybe get a card for it. So I like, this is something where like I've done this a little bit more recently, where I'll send the, if they haven't seen a lot of poppers yet, and I think they're more starting to get pretty likely to see one, I'll send the lower power herald first, and send, like, I'll send a 6 first, it gets popped, and then I send a red. Because especially if they have armor, like the 6, and there's no difference between the 6 and the 7, they have dynamos up, plus 2 block, plus 1 block on bracers or something, where it's like, the 7 isn't getting through, then the 6 isn't getting through. I want them to pop the 6, and then I can send the 7. And actually take all the armor. I don't... This hand is weird. This hand is weird for it. With the double War Tune, though, your double yellow will pay for an angel swing if you decide to go that route, if Paul just says no blocks. But I don't, because then you get to keep the wrath. But he would have to say no blocks here for that to be like the line, I think, especially with this much armor up. So we're just gonna see a full. We're just gonna say no blocks, and then we pass reacts. We don't play the wrath unless we have to. Sigil of Suffering. So the question is, do you prevent this? Preventing this means if there's a second Sigil of Suffering, you also have to prevent that one. I think Andrew's fine with that, because if there's a second one, then he just prevents it and he gives up the Angelic Wrath, and that's just a very clean. That's a totally fine turn. I don't think Paul blocks this way unless he has the 4-block D-React. It's not likely to me. Yeah, and we're going to see a Sink Blow. We're going to sink the Skizzic away. That makes sense. And we get an Arcanic Shockwave. And then we Angelic Wrath it to 9. Yep. 100%. We're very, very okay with this. Goes to Soul. And then we're going to send the... Yeah, we're just going to send the other Herald for 5 here after we grab Erudition. Ponder is going to keep us in our 5-card cycle. This is why Angelic Wrath is in the deck. It's why it's so good. It's why it's become so essential to just the game plans and the Herald aggro plans, especially with these, like, massive fridge. These decks having just massive fridges, like Aurora. And we're going to say he's going to get no blocks again. So, is there a consideration for not flipping here? Because this is something that has come up for me in the last couple games. Is like, if I know they have Arc Lightning, I shouldn't flip, especially if it's still early in the game. Just don't flip. You don't need to. But that's like if they've revealed it off a Rabble or something. It's not guaranteed that you have the information. We're gonna get War. We're gonna flip it. This is a totally fine flip. Defending an Angel can just okay. So there is a slight consideration for this, which actually, it's a little weird because of this rune chant. So because of this here, if you flip, no matter what, the first thing is going to be sending 1 arcane, which means you have to prevent it to keep your angel value. So even without the Arc Lightning, I don't know. This is something that, like, I've been adjusting very recently, and I probably would have still flipped here in London. I would be okay with not flipping here, especially if, like, because this is just a 3-card hand. This isn't like anything crazy. Especially if we can find an opportunity to flip Erudition here when we have this Soul surplus going into our turn. That might be something I really look for, because Paul's down to 3 cards and we got the Wrath Punish. That's in the back of my mind at the moment. Because this rune chant is on the board, it's just we know we have to AB here. which is something we can play into in certain game states. Like if this is if we're much lower life totals and it's like 3-3, it's like, yeah, we're gonna flip the angel for free. We're gonna take it. Ponder, unfortunately, was Light of Soul. Sucks to see it, but yeah. And then this Arc Lightning. So this is a tough spot for Andrew. This is at minimum 2 Arcane, and you shouldn't be surprised if it's 3 if Grasp is Grasp could be activated, but it would cost 3. Because some people might immediately think, oh, pitch the Light of Soul to AB this, there's 2 of it. But Light of Soul is actually significantly more powerful on your turn, just because if you get the Herald hit, it is a free angel. The Herald hit off the top goes to Soul, off Light of Soul, and then Prism trigger. Fetch a Figment, Rapture's online. You just get a free angel, which is worth a full card. So holding Light of Soul here, I think, is 100% correct, and I'm pretty sure I do it later. As well as the blue gives him slightly more flexibility throughout the rest of the turn, especially once there's an Arc Lightning on the field. You know you're going to get the 3 value out of the 3 resources. So I'm not as worried about this one as getting the value here on this one. Or I'm also not worried about the no block. We're just trying to get Ward 4 out of the Angel and maintain our value, which, like, we're okay giving a blue for this. Unfortunately, with the Ponder, this now means we're on a 3-card hand. So if Light of Soul hits, and we get to flip Erudition for free, and then swing Erudition with ability because of the Light of Soul, that's sick. That's great, because we can ignore whatever our Herald is doing, assuming we don't get popped. And then this is exactly why pitching the blue is, like, can save us. We're guaranteed to get the anti-go again value, and then we get to use that one, not the anti-go again. We get to guarantee use the 3rd resource at some point for Arc Lightning damage, and we just get to prevent the Arcanic Shockwave for it with this. Yeah, they're going back, getting the Arc Lightning. Ping, gone in a flash. 33-19, this is a totally fine spot for us to be in. We keep the War Tune. Yeah, we've got a Triumph here. I have half a thought to... Do I ever send War Tune here instead? It's possible. Sending the War Tune gives slightly more flexibility. That being said, Down and Dirty is in the deck. Yeah, I think it's Triumph. Just because Down and Dirty is... Well, even Down and Dirty you can actually work around. Because you have one floating for Halo. I might play into it then. I might send the War Tune and play into it, but then, like, keeping Triumph in Arsenal is not necessarily as good. And keeping the War Tune for more aggressive cost curves could potentially be better. Playing the War Tune first if you do get your Shariah turn, which I don't think is likely with this much armor. It's very easy to give a 2 or a 3 block and cover this first Herald. I think there's ups. There's positives to both, and neither is bad. I think I lean War Tune very slightly, sending the War Tune here, but if you put the War Tune in Arsenal, I'm totally okay with that, because those playlines have become so important. We put the That All You Got into Soul. I don't know if I was the biggest fan of this one. Just because, like, I might want to keep this That All You Got. Not drawing it is a consideration. Like, would I rather just draw a Herald? Potentially. There's no Tunic on the other side. That All You Got had lost a lot of... I don't want to say flavor, but just, like, emphasis for us at this point in the event. But I don't know. There's a lot of little things here, and I'm not sure that I have, like, a correct answer. Because, like, getting this extra soul at some point will be useful, assuming we survive to that point. And getting a not Herald out of the way is also relevant now. Yeah, so we're just going to get a somersault for 4 value, and we're going to give up 3 points of equipment. This makes sense. Yep, somersault, cool. So we know the hand is Rabble, Lightning Surge. Are the two... No, this is fine for Paul. Okay. So we're just always going to let the shock go, and we know we have perfect information on the hand now. It's Rabble, Lightning Surge. The next attack is going to be Rabble with Go again, and then Lightning Surge can threaten after that. This is never AB the shock. There's no reason to. It's just 1 damage. And we're going to hopefully turn this into a 3-card 9 for Aurora. Now, this is something that Andrew and I did talk about along with a couple other Prism players. Is whether or not he should have Haloed on this turn. Because Halo on this turn seems pretty decent. You can Halo, because he has a blue. He has a blue Spectra. I want to get to his hand. So, it's blue Spectra, yellow Wrath, red Triumph, and that all you got. So, we only have 1 Herald in hand, which can make this a little scary. We have the Herald in Arsenal, but we also have a Wrath, so we can potentially look to get our Erudition turn. We decided that even though it's risky, it's probably the best line to Halo for Triumph here, and try and make these both 3 blocks, and try and blunt the turn from Paul. There is only 1 3-block that's guaranteed to be in the hand, and that's that all you got. So what can end up happening is, because we know this one is this here, I want to get to skip ahead real quick, because Andrew goes in the tank for a bit here, which is understandable. Because if we can make this a 3, and we have at least 1 3-block, if we hit another 3-block, we're safe, and we have 2 resources floating. Plus, we have another card in Soul, so we're at 3 Soul, which is very nice. I'm trying to also math out how many cards we need. We'll have 3 cards in hand still. So this we go to 2 cards, and this we go to 1 card, which is fine because we can swing Shariah with the Wrath. Okay. That's not what I wanted. Because if we can make this 3, and then we block this for 3 with that all you got. Now Paul has a choice, especially once we have 2 floating here. And I'm curious what he would have done. If he would have sent this Lightning Surge for 3 to threaten the Boom Grenade still, or the Burn Up, same thing. Or if he would have held the card because we're floating 2 resources. I'm curious what would have ended up happening. Because if he just holds the card, and then we have to flip, so he can't target and kill the Angel. Because the attack comes in for 3, it doesn't come in for 4. It won't kill the Angel. So he has to send it at face. So he's just gambling that there's another 3-block in hand, which I think would be correct for him to do at that point. It's just a question of whether he sends the attack before or after we flip. And I think it would be correct at this moment for him to hold it, especially since we already have Shariah on the board to flip. We're gambling on a 3-block off the top, or we have to do something else. And it gets real scary. It gets real spooky. None of us loved this line, but none of us loved any of the other lines that were available. Just because, it's so... It's so spooky. This spot is so difficult. If he has another 3-block in hand, this is a Windmill Slam turn. But, we're gambling on the Halo draw that it's a Herald at this point. But we still think it's correct here to Halo. And that's not an easy call to make. But I think I look at this turn and I'm like, no, I need to make this turn happen. Because otherwise I go to 10 to 33. And my hand is pretty good for pushing through stuff. But he's going to get a full 5-card grip. And he still has 3 points of armor. And my first Herald is potentially a 6. It's probably a 7 with the Red Triumph. But That turn is hard. That turn is hard, but we think it's the Halo for Triumph turn. Because this turn gets a little weird. It's almost always pitch that all you got. So then the question is, do we start with War Tune or do we start with Triumph? We know his arsenal is Lightning Surge. We know it's not Down and Dirty or a D-React. I think I don't start on War Tune. Just because there's 3 block of equipment on the board. So because there's a 1 and a 2, there's a 1 and a 2 here. I don't want to lead with a 6. I want to lead with a 7. And like Herald of Triumph still gets around Down and Dirty by itself. And if you think he has the Down and Dirty, you can just grab Triumph if this hits, because you're going to Wrath it then, because that's the way that works. If now, if you lead with the Triumph and you get Lightning Press popped, you cannot Halo for Triumph. Or for Figment of Triumph, because you don't have any Heralds in your hand. Now, I think that's fine. You just go pay Footsteps with the blue and play the War Tune. And that's not necessarily... That's not unlikely to get through, because he has to give another 3 block and then the equipment. So I think I swap the sequencing on these Heralds. I think it's a minor thing, just because the War Tune potentially like plays better a little bit. But I think the Triumph is just slightly safer, and the breakpoint is more awkward, is like really what I'm looking at. Is like he needs a 4 block D-React, and he can't count on Sigil of Suffering. So I think I swap the order of these Heralds, but that's a very small thing, I think, in this case. Because leading on the War Tune and keeping your Halo options up when Down and Dirty is still in the deck is still a thing. If it wasn't Herald of Triumph in hand, though, I think that is what swaps it for me. Because we're just going to get... Which, I guess, Lightning Pressing a Rabble is going to put it to 8, so that would blow up Triumph anyways. Yeah, and he knows this, and that's fine. We're going to pay Footsteps, and then we're going to go... So there was also a little bit of a question of, now, is this your Halo turn because you have to? And I don't think it is. I think you've gotten 2 cards out of him, and you know that the last card is... Last card in Arsenal is Surge. So you're going to have some decent damage coming your way relative to your life totals, but I think the Halo just needs to be a slightly... doesn't feel like the Halo turn. It's just not impactful enough to Halo now at this point in this turn. This, we're going to say no blocks, if I recall correctly. And we're going to get a Figment here. I believe this is... Yeah, it's protection. We're going to flip it. That's fine. We just want a little bit of cushion to get... Just get a little room. Like, you want the protection turn pretty bad in this matchup where you get to make 2 Spectral Shields. It's just so important for breakpoints and everything and getting Angel value. But, like, this is the point where your life total matters more than getting that turn off. Just because, like, the insulation for guaranteeing an Angel that gets Ward 4 is more important for you to win this game than the shields. So we don't know what the last card is. It's unlikely to be pressed. There was 1 in hand. But we have a full grip. I might give a 3 block here with the Wrath and Arsenal just to protect my life total. And I don't love it. I really don't love it. But I'm not sure. There's also a world where this is a Halo for Triumph turn. Because then, like, if you get to keep Aegis and then have your Erudition turn or something. I don't remember what Andrew's hand is here, and if that was doable. Not great for it. Okay, there's no blue to pitch to Halo, which means you can't flip an Angel then. So this is just kind of... this is what this hand does. We've got double Herald. We're looking for our Erudition turn with the Wrath. We just need to get over once, and we'll be going. There is a press, and there is a CLV, but Paul's just going to go for damage here. So, okay, so we get the Herald to hit. It was triple yellow protection. There's no... That's the hand. We get Ravages here, and I don't love this. I don't think it matters. There's a world where I'm getting Rebirth. No, we had to discard Rebirth. What am I saying? What do we have left? War's gone. It's Ravages, Triumph, Judgment. And Judgment is there. I guess Ravages is the best. I don't love it. But I think it is, because we're just probably going to be haloing for Triumph on the next turn, because I don't think we have a choice. Flip it, and we know that we can clear the Wrath out of our arsenal, so we are just kind of pushing... We're just pushing some value, and we'll get to put a Herald in our arsenal. And from here, we kind of just want to mid-range the Aurora out. They have a little bit too much armor for me to be really comfortable with that plan. I think the bigger issue is we're just not going to get a Halo turn. Yep. This Wrath is just for efficiency. We do have 2 Spectral Shields. And he does not search. Interesting. Why doesn't he? He chooses to keep Triumph in the deck, but he's just not bothering to shuffle. I don't think he pitched at any point. Okay. I think there's no reason not to just Halo for Triumph and get full information at the start of this turn. It's a full grip from Paul, assuming we have the blue and the Herald to comfortably spare. We definitely do. So, hello. So, red War-Tune, blue War-Tune, yellow Wrath. So yellow Wrath is probably, yes, just going to be what we use to try and send our arsenal. Yes, come on. Come say hi. There we go. But, oh, that's not going to work as well. Okay. Yes. There we go. Whoop. No. There we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. Yes. I think in my mind this is pitch Pierce Reality to Halo for Triumph. Oh my goodness. We're going to soul the War-Tune Herald. And we're once again praying that we get a 3-block, because this could let us like work through some 3-blocks, or like 3-block some stuff out a little bit easier, especially in conjunction with the Spectral Shields. We're going to get to cover a lot of breakpoints easier, because we can start using Footsteps for it, and it just gives us... It gives us the most options, and we just need something. We need to just survive this turn and, like, send a 7. If we have a 7 in our arsenal, then, like, I'm real happy with this. Just giving the Angel here is fine, because it's the opposite angle of... Okay, bye. Of we're getting as much information on Paul's hand as possible. That being said, we could also... We know he has a Skyward Serenade, and we could double value on Footsteps here if we wanted to go that route. I don't know that we're likely to if we're also trying to flip an Angel for defense. There should be no way we ever keep Shariah this turn. Like, it should not happen. There's no way. Paul not pressing there is good. Makes sense. And we're just going to do the same thing. And we're just kind of... It feels like we're in the blender now, because we know that there's another 0 for 4. And this is where it's just like, okay, how do we get out of this? We need to... Oh my goodness. We need to find a way out of this. He found a box. And I don't know what it is. At this point, I think it's too much. So I don't understand this Footsteps. Oh, wait, no. Is this the turn that he has the That All You Got in Arsenal? I don't think it is. Because he would just give it here. Yeah. So this is the same thing where he's trying to get Footsteps value and then be able to flip after. And he has the Wrath in hand for the Herald that's in his arsenal. I don't love doing it like this. I'd rather do it when they're a 3, when the attack is a 3. But I guess then, like, press still blows up shoes, which this should, right? Interesting. Press doesn't get over the blocks. Okay. Sure. That. And then Skizit comes down. We still have 3 cards in hand. Oh, I might not. He hasn't pitched a card yet. I might not block here. I think I don't block here. Am I crazy for saying that? I feel like I might be crazy for saying that. Okay. So if we go, because we're at 6, this is 4 go again. He has not pitched a card yet for Channel Lightning Valley. He has drawn off Channel Lightning Valley? No. Wait. He hasn't yet. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we're blocking. Okay, that's why I was crazy. Yeah, jeez. I had in my head that the Entwined Lightning got through. Yeah, we're gonna block with Footsteps and a card. We have to. If we don't cover this, I think we lose. Yeah, and he gives the red War Tune. I'm okay with this. This is the second card being the red Herald block is fine. Press now. We have already activated Prism, unfortunately. What are the last 2 cards? Wrath and blue War Tune. I don't think it's a Rapture activation. I don't think it's a Halo. It's just not enough, man. Yeah. Written the stars? Yeah. That's so... that press there is rough. I don't know if there's a way to play around it unless you're willing to give Halo there, and I might give Halo there, but also, like, if you Halo at the start of this turn, all of these blocks become easier. Your Footsteps plus 2 Spectral Shields get to cover an attack by themselves, and then just each of your 3 blocks gets to cover an attack. Yeah, we're gonna block here. Close chain. Now he has to decide if this is Rune Chant or Embodiment. I'm pretty sure it's Rune Chant because of CLV. Choosing Embodiment, I guess, for just consistency. Yeah, we're just gonna... Eridus is just gonna get covered. And we have Embodiments. So this is... Double Battle you got. Ooh, no Heralds, though. But if at least one of the Battle you got can trigger, that's better. Reprimand, we have no Figments. We also have no Heralds for Halo to work. I honestly think I just give one, and I think I just give one Battle you got, and I see if I can get a sword swing out of him. He just draws a card then. This might just be pop Halo just to cycle the Wrath and the Reprimand into a 3-block. Wow, that's so... That feels so bad. I don't love this route. this route's like fine, but as soon as if I ever break Calming Gesture for a Spectral Shield, I better be winning the game. I think there's no good options at this point. It's like, well, we're going to get a card off that all you got, maybe. But we just die anyways. Yeah. I think it's... Yeah, I think it's this turn. I think this is the turn where... This is not an easy line, and it's also not one that we 100% think is correct. This is one where we went back and forth for like half an hour on it with like the different options, because one option is you say no blocks here, but then Paul is for sure just going to take the Lightning Surge and Arsenal it. It's just like you're giving him a free... It feels like you're giving him a free 4 value on this burn up where you can fight him for it and still get your air... Like, do stuff to get your Erudition turn. You don't just give up your Erudition turn for doing this necessarily. It depends a little bit on how Paul plays it and also the top of your deck. But, like, this is the Halo where it's like, it looks small because it's like, oh, it's 2 points of value. But the flexibility it gives you and then the pivot of if you get Erudition flipped on this turn for... So, like, if you get Erudition flipped here for 4 and then you get... Because you'll have 3 soul as well. So it's very easy for you to actually get into a state where you're like, Erudition is, or Shariah is ward 4, another Angel is ward 4, and then you have like 2 Spectral Shields. And that game state, especially if this Lightning Surge isn't here, it's not in Arsenal, this is suddenly a much better game state for you, especially if you're still at 18. If you're at 18 and he's at, let's call it 26, but you have ward 10, and he's presumably down his 1 here. Let's say he's down his 1 here and his 2 here, so he has 1 left here. This game state is so much better. It's so much better. It's a little bit risky, but these are the kinds of turns where it's like, these are the hard calls you have to make. And this turn is so much easier if he has a second 3 block in hand. It's so much easier. I think if he has the second 3 block in hand and it's not a gamble on that, I think Andrew Windmill slams it. And I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Like, I have no doubt that he would have taken the Halo for Triumph line here if he has the extra 3 block. But sometimes that's the deck. Sometimes that's the way it works. Prism's hard. But these are also like breakpoint things that are relevant in matchups like Syndra and potentially Phi as well. If they're on like Pouncing Links, and well, Pouncing Links, it's always just going to be Halo for Judgment, but like if Judgment is in your hand and you have to play around that, these are the blocking into Aurora has taught me a lot, and it's made me a lot better at playing this deck, especially in late games. It was really good. It was a really efficient aggro deck. It taught you how to block. You had to block as efficiently as she could attack, and you had to block breakpoints as efficiently as she could present them. And it was good for getting better at the deck. So, I don't know. There was a lot of little things in this game that could have gone like slightly differently, but like also were not mistakes. They were almost like preference on some of the things. But yeah, also ending the game with your Halo still up. It's not usually where you want to be, but it was also weird to find the Halo spots into Aurora. So yeah, I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna go do Leo and Pablo's game quarterfinal next. That one should be a good one. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Peace.